You ready to do this, Stu?
I am ready. Punch it, Chewie. Oh, yeah.
Welcome, Super Friends, to the Fortress of Nerditude podcast, a safe place to talk about all things in nerd and pop culture. I'm Spencer Stapleton, and my co-pilot is Stu Jones.
Boat sauce ready?
We're two nerds that just refuse to grow up. Thank you for joining us. This is episode number 86. We release every Thursday morning. You can find us on our website, fortofnerd.com. We have links to iTunes, Google Music, Spotify, YouTube, Stitcher, and everywhere podcasts are available. Stop by and relax a while. If you like what you're hearing, hit that subscribe button and get us automatically each and every week in your ear holes. It is episode 86. We spent about 10 minutes before we started this doing bad WWE wrestling impersonations, and I love, Stu, that you came hard with your Macho Man tonight. How are you?
I'm good. That's fine. Everything's fine. It's great.
Hey there, brother!
Oh, man. It's like my whole childhood is coming back to haunt me. I used to... Oh, man. I grew up on Richard Little, the impression guy. Yeah. And so I learned how to do impressions, and I did, like, all the wrestlers. I don't spend so long, but, like, Rowdy Piper, just everybody. It was crazy. It was fun. So
you can do a good hot rod? I
could. That was before puberty.
Okay.
Puberty took it all away.
See,
Puberty stole my bike.
I used to say that I did a decent Macho Man, and then I heard your Macho Man, and like I'm retired. Like I'm going to the Hall of Fame. I do that
at the office at work, and it's always a good time.
Nice. There's some there's some old wrestlers like Jake the Snake Roberts. I used to love to do an impersonation of him because it was just like, I'm gonna rip out your heart and look at it before I stomp it to the ground. And it was just like so like creepy and weird, and you're like, that's weird. And then you had like guys like, Jimmy the Heart and Mouth and stuff. Hey man, what we're gonna do is we're gonna come down here and we're gonna show you how to get to cut time, and we're gonna have this guy and he's gonna beat you up and bang, 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 ha! And you're like, okay, yeah. I love that. But Macho Man's a great impersonation because
he's the best.
You can drop that at any time. Yep. At parties, at
Step
work.
to a Slim Jim.
Right? Ooh, yeah!
Feeling bored? Need a little excitement? Oh, yeah!
Brother! Yeah, well, that has nothing to do with what we're doing tonight.
Oh, no. Oh, you will see. It has everything to do with...
Nice.
No, nothing. I mean, maybe 20 years ago.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Well, Stu, it's been a heck of a week since we talked last. What's new, man? What's been going on?
Oh, it has been. So just work decided to come at me full force. I had my vacation the week before. Work was not kind when I came back. I'm going back to good old happy time Portland in the morning, very early in the morning.
The City of Roses, right?
Sure,
Portland?
Sure.
City of Isn't that the City of Roses?
It's the city of many restaurants.
All right, you keep talking. I'm going to look that up.
You do that. So there's been that, but then I've also maybe been on a couple dates.
Oh,
that's right. That's right. I'm on the market. Look
Google
out.
says.
Wait, why does Google say anything about my dating?
Well, hold on. It says, which city is called the City of Roses? The official and also most common nickname for Portland is the City of Roses, or Rose City. First known reference to Portland as the City of Roses was made by visitors in 1888 Episcopalian Church Convention. So,
I'm going to bust that out at work tomorrow.
If you go on a date, in Portland, bring a rose because it's going to have significance. I'm just saying. I don't know why. But
no,
there you go.
I won't.
Dang it.
I am not dating in Portland. I am dating in good old Utah. So, yeah.
So you went on a date this weekend. 2 dates? 6 dates? How many dates?
13,294.
Ooh. Let me ask you this. Did you put it all on your visa?
Yes, the dark side did take care of everything.
So you got some points then out of this thing.
No, it's been interesting. I will say, it's kind of horrible, and I'm ashamed to admit it, but I try to open myself, be, honest and open on the podcast. Match.com is the worst thing that's ever graced the internet. It's horrible. This is my anti-review of Match. Obviously, they're not sponsoring us, nor will they ever.
Bad news, buddy. They just signed on to be a sponsor.
But, even as bad as it is, I still found some amazing matches, and, everyone should just really give it a shot.
Nice way to pull that back. Okay, so tell me, why hasn't Match.com been kind to you, my friend?
They're just so... one of the problems with dating apps in general is trying to search through everything and cut through all the noise. And is this even a real person to begin with? Are they really going to have similar interests? Are we going to have a good time if we go out on a date? Things like that. So Match has a lot of different criteria that you're supposed to fill out and things that are supposed to be used as criteria for the algorithms on searching. And They do nothing. You get this list every day of potential matches, and they're from all over the country, have nothing to do with your age range. Even had a couple dudes come up. That was interesting. And it's just, there's nothing there. You actually have to do more work, I've found, to, not that I'm like a big veteran of dating apps, but you have to do a lot of work to get to it. And it's horrible. I hate it. I canceled it already.
So what you're saying is you want, like, an Amazon Prime for dating. You want a date just to show up to your door in 2 days that you pick out online. Don't do any work. It's just all done for you.
Does that exist? Does Prime deliver? I know it's Prime Day today.
That's what I'm saying. Have you looked on there for a date?
I have, and unfortunately I ended up with a 3D printer.
Ooh, what kind of 3D printer?
Print my own date, I guess. Now, I was looking at some. I haven't actually pulled the trigger on that, but...
Okay, talk to me afterwards, because I've been looking at 3D printers for quite a while.
Okay, that could be good.
I'm just curious to what you're seeing and prices you're seeing. So
yeah, but I did decide to kind of start taking my life back, kind of like one room at a time, kind of thing in my house, and so I've been focusing on my bedroom, and I bought a new bed, which is just this weirdly, surprisingly fulfilling thing. Also got a new stereo for my car that's on order that I'll be getting installed next week.
Nice.
For having a Corvette, the stereos in them are notoriously, like, I'm stuck in the 1990s apparently, so finally getting one with Bluetooth and line in and all that stuff, and so that way I can change the mood music based on the date in the car.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying? There is a girl that's kind of come out of all this. We'll see if there's an update next week. Things are looking pretty good. So
see, all I got from that whole story you just told me is you said, I'm taking it back, and I'm thinking,
my life back.
I'm taking it back. I'm taking them all back. The line from the Goonies, man. I was waiting for that.
Oh, wow. No Goonies.
Yes, every single time says I'm taking something back, they're like, I'm taking it back. I'm like, I'm taking them all. Like, I just feel like I have to finish it. It's kind of like the da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Like, you just have to do it, man. It's a compulsion. I'm sick. What can I say?
Come sail away. Come sail away. Not a South Park fan.
Dirty. Come sail away with me.
Thank you. Anyway, yeah, but so that's been my life last week. Just hung out with
Cartman. I got Cartman in my head.
You're welcome.
I'm sailing away. Setting up a car with emergency.
Oh, yes. Okay, my night. This has all been worth it now.
Mom, I want my happy. I want my cheesy poof.
Yeah.
We're way offline, way so far into the podcast, so early. So I got to reel this back here. So there's a girl. Taking it all back. So there's a girl you've seen that maybe could be, you could see her again.
Yeah. Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay. So what else is going on?
Just hanging out with Mo, enjoying time with Mo when I have it. She spent the day with me. I was supposed to have her all weekend. But she had a family reunion kind of thing. She spent the day with me yesterday, and we went shopping for pillows at Walmart, like you do. But got her this huge Trolls, the Trolls cartoon. She got this huge body pillow for that, and we went home. We started Return of the King.
Ooh!
So we're getting far in there. I kind of dozed off. Because I've seen it, 3,297 times, but woke up and she had me all covered with a blanket and laying on my lap and, I'll get you in the feels. Anyway.
Did she have you snuggle the troll pillow? Was it awkward?
No.
Okay.
I did not snuggle the troll pillow. Not while she was here.
There you go.
But that is my life. And then today is just right back at the whole work stuff and flying to Portland, and we'll see if there's some dating developments to report next week. Because everyone is curious about my dating, I'm sure.
I'm curious. I'm living vicariously through you because I don't date anymore. And that's a
problem.
If I came on here and I said I was dating like girls that I was meeting, that would be a bigger problem, I think.
You should be dating your wife.
Well, I mean, yes, I get that. But I'm talking about like dating other people. Like, I'm not doing that. So I've got to live vicariously through you, hear like the cool things single people do. Because, when you're married, it's like, hey, do you want to go to some new restaurant? Do you want to go out to a thing for the first time? It's like, no, we've done that like 17 million times.
So what you're saying is you're rooting for me to never actually get married or find someone because then it'll get boring. For you.
I'd like to plead the fifth on this.
Yeah, Great. I'm secretly getting sabotaged.
How do I answer this one without feeling like it's a trap?
It's a trap.
It's a trap. No, yeah. I'm always excited to hear because what you're going through because it's interesting, it's exciting, but obviously if you find someone, I'm going to be happy for you because then you're going to have all the like, hey, we're getting serious and we're talking about taking it to the next level and all that kind of stuff. And
well, the funny thing is like so the format of the show being nerd culture that directly relates to my dating endeavors because that's the challenges and obstacles and maybe even benefits of that. Actually, they really come through as I'm going through with dating. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about that later.
Sure. I like that idea.
Yeah.
And then I can also tell you about how I feel like I'm super lucky with who I married because she's into a lot of the same stuff I'm into.
You guys have done that. That's boring.
I know, 17 million times. Who cares? Yeah. So this week, we did a couple things different this week than we usually do. In our church, we celebrate Pioneer Day. It's a state holiday in Utah. It's coming up, right? And I'm actually going to be gone on Pioneer Day because we're going to San Francisco this weekend. But the kids, like the little Cub Scout age kids, threw this big kind of like Pioneer Day party, and they had it over at a local park, and all the families got to come. And so Charlie and Jackson actually got to do a tug of war for the first time in their life. And there was like, I don't know, maybe 20 kids on one side of the rope, 20 on the other. And Jackson and Charlie both got there and they were pulling. You could see like Jackson kind of was just like, I'm having fun. Barely had his hand on the rope. Charlie was like digging in and like trying to pull. And then of course, when they won, their whole side kind of, fell backwards and he like bonked into some kid and some kid bonked into him. And he came running to me. He's like, Dad, I totally fell down and this kid bonked me in the head. But like I had a great time because we pulled the rope and we won. And was so excited. And it was just kind of cool to see my boys do something that they haven't done yet before, experience something new. Like I get so much pleasure out of seeing that. And, not necessarily the tug of war, but just, seeing them experience new things and having a good time. Because I really want to expand their horizons, get them outside into nature and doing things. They keep saying they want to go camping, but they don't know what camping entails.
I was going to say, I mean, glamp with them and tell them that's what you do.
Right, yeah. They don't know what camping is. They think camping is making s'mores in the backyard, which, I mean, it's part of it. But So we took them actually over to Antelope Island this weekend. On Saturday, we drove over to Antelope Island. And for those of you that don't live in the area and you don't know what that is, Antelope Island's basically a big island in the middle of the Great Salt Lake. Many years ago, the waters covered like this whole area, thousands of years ago. And at some point, the waters receded some, and a bunch of bison got on the island, and antelope and a bunch of other stuff. And then the waters came back up, and they've stayed up. And so they're just kind of out there on this island. And so we went out there and drove around, and we saw a couple, and we got out with the kids, and we're trying to explain to them, like, these are big, they're dangerous, we won't get too close.
Right.
And so they were kind of okay with that, and they thought, they kept calling them buffalo, which was fine. Bison, buffalo, it's pretty much the same thing.
Well, they are literally the same thing.
It's true, it's just a different name they use. Buffalo they use over in like Africa and Asia, and we use bison here in North America. Don't ask me, it's the same thing. But we're over there, and we're looking, and then as we're driving, literally one crossed 5 feet in front of our car. And the boy's like, Daddy, Daddy, Daddy. And you could hear they were kind of panicking because we were telling them you don't want to get too close. And I was like, we're in the car. We're going to be fine. Of course, I had it in drive and my foot was on the brake, but it was ready to immediately hit the gas and punch it if I needed to.
Yeah, you just call me in those moments, and I'll give you a good punch at Chewy when you're in.
Yeah, when I need it.
Of course, there is no cell service out on the island, so good luck with that.
No, I'm like, we can't go, honey. I know it's rampaging toward us, but Stu hasn't told me to punch it yet.
Oh, we could record it. You could play it. You'd be good. Another very important fact about Antelope Island is there is about a 3.5-mile causeway that is completely straight, often not patrolled by rangers or anything, and is a really good place to dump an accelerator. Yeah. Just saying.
I like taking that on my motorcycle because I like to see how fast I can go before I got to get to the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. I did rewatch Ready Player One this weekend.
Okay.
I was thinking about going to a movie and using my movie pass. I was going to go see Ant-Man and the Wasp again, actually.
I still haven't seen it.
And then I looked, and they wanted to charge me an extra $3.20.
Oh.
And I was like, wait a minute. I'm pretty sure I had the annual pass, and I'm not supposed to be part of the surge pricing ordeal. And I went back and looked. No, they changed my membership to monthly.
Yeah, I have. I already canceled with MoviePass. I actually was going to mention that on last week's, and I forgot all about it because it's out of mind. I am done. It's
Brita and I have been talking about it pretty seriously because now I've got to try to schedule to go to different off times to see movies, which is really going to prohibit when I can actually go. That's the whole reason I got this, that I could use it whenever I needed to. And so...
Wait, are you trying to indicate that convenience might be part of a service?
You would think, right? Yeah. Strange. So, we've been talking, and she said to me, she's like, you know what? Why don't we do the AMC A-list, the Stubbs A-list? She's like, even though it's $20 a month, and you can only see 3 movies a week, you can go and see the same movie 3 times in a row if you want to. It includes the extra experiences and the IMAXs and whatnot.
The
3Ds. But it's only AMCs, and in Utah, we only have 3 of them. However...
We live really close.
We live really close to an AMC. So...
I actually go to the one in Centerville as well.
Yeah.
So, easy.
Yeah, so we're talking about getting rid of our movie pass because now it's becoming prohibitive to use it. And then going with the AMC one. And giving that a try, at least for a little while, to see how it works. Because she also likes the idea that it gives you discounts on the popcorn, which she gets. I don't get popcorn, but the discounts on the popcorn or any food when you get there, and you get the points, which should knock off prices. And I don't know, that stuff doesn't bug me so much. I don't care about that. But
yeah, so with MoviePass, with it being as cheap as it was, I never really even felt any pressure to use it. If I saw one movie a month already paid for, with the convenience of it. With AMC, if it was $20 a month, but I really liked it, I would feel a little bit more pressure to get better value out of it, knowing that I have control out of that, and I would see probably a couple more movies every month.
Right.
But if it's good, then it's worth it, and I'll definitely get the value from it. So I'd be really interested to see how that goes if you get that.
Yeah, we may give it a try, just because I figure a movie around here, if you purchase your ticket online through Fandango...
Oh, can't you order it online too if you get the AMC one?
Yes, it's you do it through through an app or whatever. You don't have to have a card that they charge. You just do it right through an app, and then you you can schedule them ahead of time. So you don't have to do it day of. I don't have to be stand right outside the theater.
Yep.
So there's a lot more convenience to it, but I mean, a ticket around here is like $12 and a half bucks.
Yeah.
If you order online.
It's still going to be worth it.
Yeah. So, I mean, you do that for one ticket. And then if you get a discount on like your popcorn, if you're going to buy that or any other snacks, like you're pretty much going to pay it or close to paying off with seeing one movie. And, you know, Rita and I don't go together usually, so I'll go one day and she'll go another day, and you know.
Can't you also? One of the things I thought I saw was that you can actually order a second
ticket for a friend.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So it's got some advantages. So I think we're gonna look into that. But yeah. So anyway, so I didn't go see that. I was thinking about going to see the Jurassic World movie, and I got back and I was like, oh, surge pricing for that too, because it was a Saturday night at 9:30. Because how many people are going out to see a movie that's 3 weeks old on a Saturday night? No, they're going to go see the new movie. But I didn't want to pay an extra $3.20. So
yeah, movie pass is out of my life. I have broken off that relationship.
Yeah. One last thing I did do, and this is the thing I've been super excited about, like all weekend long. Through like the podcasting community, I know quite a number of people, and through the Make Us Better community, there's some people that put together a D&D game. Matter of fact, Thomas King, who was a guest co-host a while back, he put together a game, and there was enough people that showed interest in it that they couldn't fill all the slots. Like they had too many people. And so someone said, hey, I really want to do this, and da-da-da-da-da. And they said, yeah. And then Thomas said, I think Spencer's been talking about putting something together. And so I jumped on their Discord and said, yes, I'm going to put something together. I'm going to try to get it going after I come back from San Francisco. And Stu and I have talked about doing something. And so I had 2 people already speak up and say, hey, I would be interested in that. And Thomas even reached out and said, hey, you know, if you guys are going to run something, it's like, I'd like to just jump in as a veteran player. And I figured, like, you know, we're going to kind of have a bunch of noobs, and I'm going to DM it, and I'm going to be a noob. So, you know, we'll have all fun together. And then I had a coworker that also said today, he's like, yeah, if you do this, like, he's like, I don't know if you're going to have a lot of spots or whatnot. It's like, but I may be interested. And I know there's a couple other people on that Discord that said they may be interested. So I think we're going to have enough people to put together a game here fairly quickly. And then on top of that, I took my player's handbook. I've got it in a PDF form, and I made a bunch more bookmarks so I can jump back to certain spells for certain classes and a bunch of other stuff to make it a little more convenient for me, because I'm going to be flipping back and forth. And then I've been looking at the Lost Mine of Phandelver campaign, which comes right out of the starter set. And then I've got the Princes of the Apocalypse that you're loaning me. And so I'm thinking Stu will do Lost Mine of Phandelver first, because it'll be a more introductory one and kind of get people's, you know.
Did you get the starter set from Target?
Yeah, did you see that photo? So that's what cracks me up, right? Like, Dungeons and Dragons, to me, this is just to me, has always been something where it's like, I'm nerdy, but I'm not that nerdy. But now, like, Dungeons and Dragons is really having this huge, like, moment, right, in the spotlight. Because, I mean, you've got things like Stranger Things, obviously, which highlighted that, and they incorporated elements of a campaign into, like, the show, basically. Yeah. You got Critical Role, and you've got, you know, Adventure Time, and you've got some of these big podcasts, and you've got
D&D is mainstream, baby.
Right, it's being streamed on Twitch, and then I'm in Target, and I look over, and the D&D starter set is on a shelf over in the toy section by some of the games. And I was like, really? You know you hit it mainstream when Target's carrying you. That's all I'm saying. So,
well, there you go.
So good for Dungeons and Dragons.
So really important note for all of the rest of the internet is I get first dibs on a character in that campaign. So
yeah, no. This is, you know, this by all means. I've told everyone that I've talked to.
I'm the healer.
I was like, Stu's in first.
Well, hold on. I will be a cleric. I'm not necessarily devoting myself to healing, though. I'm ready to go. I've already got my character idea ready.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
Unless I've got a date that night.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Your date will have to participate, maybe. I don't know.
Oh,
That could be awkward.
We'll tie back to that. We'll bring it back.
All right, but yeah, that's kind of the last thing I want to talk about.
Okay.
I'm super excited. Every night I've been pulling out my tablet and reading a little bit, and I just keep thinking, can this vacation hurry up and be over with so I can start putting this thing together?
Oh.
But I don't really want the vacation to go that quick, you know what I'm saying? So
sure, buddy.
Anyway, that's been my week. What do you say? Is it time to get to the old Rebel Intelligence?
I'm always down to kill Bothans, baby.
Let's do it, sadly. That sounds so weird to say. Poor Bothans. I always have to let you know, many Bothans died to bring us this information.
Rest in peace, you Bothans.
All right, Stu, we are into Rebel Intelligence. What do you have for me this week?
Well, so one of the things that it's just kind of bizarre and awkward, I guess. So I used to, in a former life, I used to be a Blockbuster video store manager.
That does not surprise me for some reason.
I've done everything. I have done everything. So I actually loved it. I was actually working at Blockbuster at 9/11. It was, obviously horrible, but it was also interesting to me. So that day and the day after, nobody in the world rented any movies.
Right.
Like maybe one or two people would come in. But after, like 2 days after, people started trickling into the store, and then just more and more people, I guess, like as, processing started to kind of move into dealing with it. You could not keep... There were only two types of movies that were getting rented.
American movies? Yeah.
War movies and like rom-coms.
I would say Rocky IV. Something like that.
No, rom-com. It was like either people that wanted to patriotize themselves or people that wanted to get as far from that as possible.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, and I mean, there are a couple other details there. But yeah, so one of the things that I did when I was doing that was the first store I worked at, we had actually closed down. And it was the reason being that there was another store that was reasonably close that was $1 million store. So it wasn't like Blockbuster was in a decline at that time. But so I closed the store, kind of familiar with the process of it. So enter 2018, where Blockbuster is completely dead and removed from the world, all except for 3 stores that somehow still survive.
Wow.
2 of them being in Alaska. Like, these are areas where broadband service just doesn't really exist.
Yeah.
So people still, they have the outlet for renting, movies and games. Like, I still have a DVD player and a Blu-ray player, so that kind of media would work for me. I don't know that I would ever actually go rent things anymore. Like, Redbox, I guess, kind of takes care of that itch now, but
right.
I still don't. So yeah, there are 3 left. They are unfortunately shutting down 2 of them.
The 2 in Alaska.
So the 2 in Alaska, yeah.
Okay.
They are going away. Kind of makes me sad. So this is kind of like the official closing month. However, they're going to, the process I'm familiar with, they're actually going to sell off all the store inventory.
Sure.
All that stuff. And I'll tell you what, there's a strategy to this. Every day that a movie doesn't sell, it will get cheaper. So if you have some favorites that are in the store, kind of just hang out and see if anyone else is interested in it, especially if there's a couple copies. I mean, we ended up going from $10 at the first of the month when we were closing the store to we literally sold things for 9 cents a movie the last day that store was open.
Wow.
And then the store employees just took everything home that was left. It didn't even matter if it was a good movie or not. So yeah, so they're and one of these stores was like Russell Crowe. Had some movie artifacts and things like that were sent to the Alaska Blockbuster store. So even with some props and things from movies, it's just
couldn't keep it open.
Yeah, nothing there. There's one left, and I'm rather proud to say it's in my home state of Oregon in Bend.
I was gonna say, is it in the City of Roses?
No, it is in Bend, and somehow it's managed to outlast them.
So what's the over/under? What do you think? How long is that one gonna last?
Well, I don't know, like 3 more days. We'll see. Yeah, it's, I don't know. I don't expect it to last very long at all.
I say less than a year.
especially in Bend, Oregon. I mean, Bend really isn't. It's kind of out of the way a bit, but it's like, say, I don't know, Clearfield, Utah.
Yeah. So
it'll go the way of the dodo bird eventually. But yeah, interesting to see. I'm rooting for it.
Well, I mean, it's a big symbol of the 90s, man. Like Blockbuster.
Yeah, like that 90s show and everything else we're reminded of in the 90s that everyone seems to just forget about. 90s didn't even happen, man.
I beg to differ. Those were junior high and high school years. They happened.
They didn't happen.
All right, so here's what I got for you this week. So you remember a little while ago we talked about how Chris Hardwick was being accused of, some sexual assault by his ex-girlfriend and some other stuff. It's not, necessarily great, emotional abuse and whatnot. And then we said that he was taken off the panel for Comic-Con, the big Hall H stuff, and how AMC has removed him from all of the like post-Walking Dead shows like The Talking Dead and, Fear the Talking Dead and all that, whatever. So they've announced that Yvette Nicole Brown, who was on the TV show Community, she's an actress. She's a massive, massive super fan of The Walking Dead. She's been on the Talking Dead show a few times with Chris Hardwick, and she's friends with Chris. She has been announced as the temporary host for any post, Walking Dead shows. So that's going to be, obviously The Talking Dead, and the one that follows Fear the Walking Dead. So it's probably
The Flocking Dead.
Yeah. And so that was just announced. She's also going to be the moderator of the Walking Dead panels at Comic-Con. And she put out a Twitter post, and I want to read this because I thought this was a nice way of putting this to try to kind of clear the air and not, clear up anything. And it says, "I will say this once. I'm filling in for a friend, which I've done before. I am not jockeying for a job. I have enough of my own. It is my prayer that God's will is done in the midst of this process and that everyone is okay. My character is known and sound. Nothing has changed." And I like that because I know that she is a friend of Chris Hardwick's, and I know that she is a great person. I mean, she has filled in for Chris before, so she's a great person to put in this role. She'll do a fantastic job. But I like that she says, like, "Hey, I'm not jockeying for his job. I'm just doing this to fill in, and hopefully everything goes well, and whatever happens, happens. But I'm not trying to leverage this into something else."
Yeah, but the people that are pulling the strings are they're preparing for forever.
Sure, which they have to because it's their business, and I get that. So we don't know if Chris Hardwick's going to come back or not. AMC's going through their process of looking into the allegations before they release him a bit. Because he's kind of like in a suspended state right now, but we don't know what's going to happen. But
yeah, but even if they conduct their investigation and even if everything, kind of comes back in his favor, there's still the risk there because you still have the internet backlash of, well, the internet doesn't necessarily believe he might be innocent, even if he is. And it's tough. I mean,
yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, that we've talked about that. There's that. It's a different.
You're stigmatized. The moment it happens, you're stigmatized.
So anyway, Yvette Nicole Brown, that's awesome for her. Like, I think she's going to do a fantastic job. She's going to do it justice, and she's going to, she's going to be good for the product. And we'll see kind of, if it becomes a permanent thing or not, but who knows?
Well, I wish both of them luck. And if everything is on the up and up and it's false accusation, I really hope that the studio has the strength to stand behind him. Because while it's abhorrent that it occurs, if someone is innocent of this, then we need to swing things back in the direction of what's ethical and moral to handle with this. And we need studios to be strong enough to say, we've done our investigation, the police have done their investigation, everything's on the up and up here, and we believe it's an entirely false accusation. We're going to give this guy a job, and we hope you, as our viewers, will stand behind us in that decision.
Right.
So,
if that's the case, and if they have the strength to do that.
Yep. And so I'm glad at least that he's got the friend here who's willing to kind of take that and make it known that she's not trying to take the position and that she's leaving it open for him to come back openly.
Right. Yeah.
So now if he is guilty, then I hope his career's over forever and I hate him. Anyway, so one of my this may be a little surprising, I guess. Take a wild guess at who my favorite superhero director is.
I'm going to go with that guy that directed Superman 3.
Okay, so you're really saying you have no idea.
That's right, yeah.
Because, I mean, I wouldn't be all mysterious if it were like Joss Whedon or somebody like that, right?
No, of course not.
So, M. Night Shyamalan.
Shyamalama Ding Dong.
Shyamalama Ding Dong.
Yes.
I am, I guess, one of few people. I actually love all of his movies.
Wait. You said your favorite superhero director.
Well, we're talking.
You're talking
about
Unbreakable.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh gosh, yes.
Unbreakable
and
was
Split.
Well, I mean, Split isn't necessarily a superhero movie. Unbreakable is.
Well, okay, it's a comic book movie though.
Yeah.
But it's the origin story of a villain, which so good.
Well, you've also got Bruce Willis's character though, right?
Right, and I mean he is in that at the very end of that. But yes, definitely Unbreakable with David Dunn and Mr. Glass. Yeah, was it Elijah? Something. I think his name is Elijah.
But yeah,
kids call me Mr. Glass. Yeah, go ahead.
So anyway, I love that movie. I love everything that he's done. It's I don't know. He gets a lot of hate, and I know that he overuses tropes, and he's got some reasons that people don't like him, whatever it may be. I've loved everything. Unbreakable, and I did love Split. All I'm contending there is that it's not a superhero movie, but Split was
a supervillain movie.
Split was ridiculously good, especially so good. The acting involved there. What was it? James McAvoy.
Yep.
Oh, that was so good. So yeah, we've got Glass coming out here in a while.
Yes, we do.
Bringing that all together, baby. So we're starting to see some. It's been in production. We're starting to see some stills from that. It's very artsy. There's the scene like where I'd assume that we have the psychiatrist, a therapist, or somebody who's interviewing them all together. It's just big and open, and you see the characters like just as they are, like you would imagine them to be sitting there. You've got Glass sitting there, just kind of contemplating. You've got Bruce Willis who's sitting there like, what's going on? And you got the Split guy is just like ready to burst out of his skin.
The Beast. Yeah.
The Beast. Oh, Lordy.
Elijah Prince is his name, by the way. It came to me.
There you go. So yeah, we've just got a couple pictures from that. It really fits the motif of what I would want to see this. I'm not really big on speculation and all that kind of stuff, but just to kind of get that first glimpse, I've got some chills. I'm ready. I'm ready, baby.
So I'm going to tell you that when I watched the Unbreakable for the first time, I was kind of like, everyone kind of said it's kind of a thriller, and I don't necessarily care for thrillers a ton. Mm-hmm. And I went in, I was kind of watching it, and I found myself like being pulled into it more and more slowly throughout the film the first time I watched it. And as we started getting towards the very end, and they have the big reveal, and it's like, and the way Tyson is like, in order to find the true hero, a true villain must emerge, and he's like, it's like da 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 da, and then he's like, and the kids, they called me Mr. Glass, and he's like in the comic book store, and he's holding the comic book, and he's talking to him like at that art gallery thing at the very end, right? And I was like, holy crap. I have been watching a superhero comic book movie this whole time without really seeing it. And for me, on a nerdy level, like on just a film appreciation level, I really, really enjoyed it. It was beautiful. But on a nerd level, the fact that like I did not catch that until way late when it was like basically upon me. And then I realized this is like probably the coolest possible way you could do this sort of a film, because you're going to hit people who are going to go thinking it's one type of movie and not even know that they're watching a superhero / comic book film at all until the end. And then they're going to be talking about it and they're going to be interested in it. And obviously, like, we had a big boom in comic book movies that came right after that. You had the X-Men movies and the Spider-Man movies, the first run of all those. And I think people that saw Unbreakable were more willing to go see something like that now because they saw something really cool. And then Split comes out and you find out it's a continuation of that world, and I'm going nuts. The fact that Glass is happening, that it's a thing, because I know that like Disney was part of it the first time around with the first movie, and they had to get permission to get David Dunn's character to show up for
Split.
For Split because it was Fox Searchlight, and now it's going to be all the same house anyway. But oh man, like this is one of the things I'm most excited for in the near future.
You realize this is my Rebel Intelligence article, right?
Yeah.
No, one of the things I love about M. Night Shyamalan, and I know it's what really drives a lot of people crazy, is he is a glorified Scooby-Doo director.
Yeah.
At the very end of it, he pulls the mask off, and you see who it was the whole time. And to kind of translate that, the movies are never what they seem until you get the great reveal. And it's like he pieces everything together to lead up to that. So the second time you watched Unbreakable, when you already knew the reveal, everything fits.
Yeah, and it feels like you're watching a new movie.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Village is one of my favorites, but Unbreakable, that was so good. So I'm really excited to see something coming from Glass. That is a movie I will be there opening night for.
Yes.
And I'm sure it's not even that's not going to be what we all expect it to be until the end.
No. I'm with you. I'm with
Super.
you. Okay, so speaking of something else I'm excited about. I am excited about the new Bill and Ted's movie.
Mm-hmm.
Bill and Ted Face the Music, right?
Yeah.
So that's like the Bill and Ted movies were such a big part of my childhood. And now I'm hearing some things. Keanu Reeves basically was being interviewed by Yahoo Entertainment, and he said, "I don't know if Bill and Ted 3 is a reality.
What?
We've been trying for a long time to get the film made, and it still has challenges." And then he says, "I really love the characters, and I think we have a good story to tell. Part of it is business stuff, financing, rights, deals, nothing creatively." So basically what he's saying is that the movie's not necessarily a done deal. Like, the actors are signed on. I think they've even got a director. They've got a good story, but they're trying to figure out the rights and the deals, and of course some of that's going to be probably like logistics. I heard that and I was like, dude, this is totally bogus. Like, I do not want this thing to fall apart.
This is a bogus journey.
Yeah, especially considering that everyone involved wants to do it.
Yeah.
It's like let's make this a thing. There's so many movies that are coming out nowadays with nostalgia as a big driving factor. I mean, heck, Disney is remaking all of their animated films that they've done in the past with live action and CGI because they know they can, because they know the nostalgia factor of, oh, I love the Beauty and the Beast,
right.
Beauty and the Beast as a kid. Let me go see it. I love Jungle Book. And so they go and they do it, and it does well for them. They make money. So why not Bill and Ted? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, well,
I mean, it doesn't sound like it's dead in the water.
You always bring the bad news, man.
I'm just bringing the news, man. I'm not saying it's dead in the water. I'm just saying that it sounds less than excellent.
Yeah, less than confirmed than what we heard before.
Yeah.
You can't really push a movie if you don't got the money or the rights to make the movie. That's
right?
just that's like
it's interesting when Entertainment Weekly though does like a big spread and they put you on the magazine cover and they they do a big photo shoot. It's like you got to be farther along in the process, I would think. So
yeah, that'd be like announcing the release of Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Dang it, you had to go there. You just had to.
I'm so glad I wasn't actually on that episode because I did not want to see you cry.
You cut me deep. You cut me deep, Stu.
Well, let me cut you a little bit deeper with Black Widow.
Okay. ScarJo, yes, I'm listening.
ScarJo, yeah. So we have a director. Black Widow movie is a coming along, and they interviewed what was it, like 70 directors, men and women, to be fair. I guess there was apparently a movie. So this is Kate Shortland.
Okay.
She's Australian.
Better?
So she's
Like it?
from
Yeah.
Down Under, and she has a knife.
Ooh.
Right.
She going to go on a walkabout?
Yes, mate.
Nice.
So anyway, so she got picked out of 70 directors. Johansson likes her. I guess there was a film that she did, Lore, that ScarJo liked the main character for. Her most recent film was Berlin Syndrome. It's kind of a festival movie. I haven't seen it, heard about it. Really, I have no idea who this lady is.
Okay.
But I mean, if there's like 70 directors and there's definitely some very high scrutiny on this. This is not the first solo female movie. It's the second solo female movie because we've got Captain Marvel coming around.
Right.
But the director for that is co-directing. So this is going to be the first fully female directed MCU movie.
Okay.
We'll see how that goes. I mean, it is a movie about a female character, so I would think some identification there would definitely work. It's going to be apparently a prequel kind of movie, so
Okay.
So as far as like the superheroes, I do like Black Widow a lot. They've definitely given her a lot of depth. She's a total badass. It doesn't even have to do with male versus
Bad A.
Dude. Dang it. Oh, so far iTunes hasn't caught us yet. But
No.
But yeah, I mean, I would much rather see a Black Widow movie than a Hawkeye movie. It's
every day of the week.
She's just a much better character. So I mean,
I don't want to see Jeremy Renner by himself on film, but ScarJo, oh yeah.
Hey, now she's a very talented individual. I'm not doing that. I'm not justifying that.
Please,
Not
for
justifying that
ScarJo,
for you. No.
ScarJo,
Nope.
for Black Widow.
Nope. I won't do it.
Dang you.
But anyway, we're looking at 2020 for the Black Widow movie. If they're signing on a director and they've already got some other, pre-production stuff worked out, then this is a very likely thing. She's a very popular character, so I'm excited to kind of see where this is going. And hopefully we'll see some more news about that in the coming months and years and decades.
Nice. Something I'm super excited about.
Legos.
Well, of course, Legos, but that's not what I was going to say. So I love the Uncharted video games, and they're one of my favorite series. A lot of fun, and everyone's been talking for a long time about needing to make an Uncharted movie. Got to get Nathan Drake, and everyone that I know wants Nathan Fillion, our good old friend Captain Malcolm Reynolds, to play Nathan Drake because he looks just like him. He kind of sounds like him.
I thought there was going to be like a Tom Holland one. Well,
Tom Holland said that he'd signed on or was going to sign on to play the younger version of Nathan Drake. Because in the third movie, I think, or the third game or fourth game, you actually go back in time during parts and you kind of play as the younger Nathan Drake when he was a kid. And so Tom Holland, anyway. So just released literally today, there's a fan-made film that's about 15 minutes long, not in association with Naughty Dog, that was made based on Uncharted, starring Nathan freaking Fillion. And because I was so busy today, I've only seen about the first 2-3 minutes of it, but it looks so good so far. And it's kind of what you expect from a fan film. Like, it's got decent quality, but I mean, it's not obviously a Hollywood film. But the thing is that I thought about this for a minute. Why would Nathan Fillion be willing to do something like this? Because
no, Nathan Fillion is all about doing something that he loves.
Well, see, but that's true. And so, if I came to, I know that, and that's the same conclusion I'd come to. But if it was another actor, I could say, well, maybe they're doing this because they're trying to lobby to show hey, I could be playing this or da-da-da-da-da. But I think this is one of those things that Nathan Fillion's just Nathan Fillion. He enjoys doing this kind of stuff.
Exactly.
And he enjoys, I think he understands the fans and the fandom, and he knows what he's, well known for, and he loves those roles. He loves the role of Captain Malcolm Reynolds probably better than any Firefly fan. And we know Firefly fans are rabid fans.
Yeah, I actually I had to change addresses and phone numbers I made one disparate comment about Firefly. When I thought I was alone in the restroom, oh man, they chased me down.
See?
No, he's
talking about.
So actors are I mean, it's obvious. Social media, social impact drives success these days. If you are not one with the social media, you're gonna lose business because people are gonna hate you. So I think personally that there are actors that do enjoy associating with their fans, and you see a lot of them like on the red carpet and things like that. And when you do press tours,
right,
they're really nice to the fans. But there are a few that really have a connection that you think that they understand that they're regular people. Nathan's definitely one of them. Vin Diesel still plays D&D in his hometown.
Right. Yep.
I mean, you see several instances of this. So sometimes you just have an actor that uses that to his advantage, connects with the people, has the ability to do so without compromising the security of his life when he's going through towns. So it's awesome to see that kind of thing. And I think I would love to see actors that connect with people do things like this as a part of the fandom. Because he loves other stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
And that he loves Firefly as much or more than most of the fans.
Absolutely.
So
here's my hope.
Kudos to him, man.
The Deadpool movie got made.
Oh, I was actually going to mention Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, because Ryan Reynolds leaked the test footage, right? So I'm hoping that someone in Hollywood sees this and says, "Yeah, we can make this. Let's do this," and gets on board with Naughty Dog and Sony Pictures and make this thing happen. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, they could be a big thing.
Could be a big thing. This would be a video game movie that if it were to really happen, I would go see.
Yeah.
Because I typically kind of pan them because they're not really all that great usually, and they don't usually stand the test of time as far as films go. But
there are a few exceptions. I mean,
Mortal Kombat Annihilation? No.
Just Mortal Kombat.
Super Mario Brothers. See? You see?
Okay, Resident Evil. Yeah.
Never seen them.
The first Tomb Raider with Angelina Jolie. Yeah.
She was, yeah. But the movie,
I still liked it. Now, the new Tomb Raider movie, I tried to watch that I actually tried to watch that when we were heading to Portland for our vacation.
Right.
Oh, that was so bad. It was so bad. Some of them work, some don't. Who knows? The Chun-Li movie? Did you know there was a Chun-Li movie? There's a Chun-Li movie. Oh my gosh, it's so horrible. Anyway.
All right.
Okay, so speaking of Joss Whedon, he's not my favorite, but I do like a lot of his stuff. Obviously, speaking of Firefly...
oh yeah.
So the Avengers, I'm kind of hit and miss with Buffy, but I definitely understand all the hype around it and why it was so popular and why it did so well. Sure. While I would say I know a lot of people kind of get up in arms about male directors and producers writing female characters, I mean Buffy by itself, that's
right.
all it really kind of he definitely identifies somewhere with that. So anyway. New sci-fi series greenlit by HBO by Mr. Whedon.
Really?
It's The Nevers, described as an epic science fiction drama about a gang of Victorian women who find themselves with unusual abilities, relentless enemies, and a mission that might change the world.
Awesome.
Right. Now, I don't know how it becomes sci-fi if it's Victorian women, but...
This sounds like Downton Abbey on steroids.
Right, exactly. And yeah, except that they, kill strange men who make advances with I-beams.
Maybe that happens in Downton Abbey. We just don't see it. It's off screen.
I haven't watched Downton Abbey, so maybe.
Yeah, me neither.
But anyway, so he says it's his most ambitious narrative that he's ever created. He's happy to do it on HBO. I guess there was a bidding war between HBO and Netflix, which is not surprising these days.
Right.
However, I kind of think even with some of the success of Netflix, that it's kind of like if you make it on HBO, it's going to be solid. You've got Westworld, you've got Game of Thrones. I mean, HBO
Flight
still
of the
has...
Conchords. Yeah.
Well, in certain circles, yes. I like that. Anyway, so yeah, HBO is definitely where some really big stuff goes to happen, and like people subscribe to HBO simply for these shows. So
right,
it's a good home for it if it works out. We know that Whedon's got some chutzpah to pull this off. I'll watch it, see how it goes.
Yeah, I'm interested. I'd give that a look.
Would you movie pass it? Ooh.
We may not be able to do that much anymore.
I know, that's...
Would you AMC Stubbs A-list it?
No, now it's going to become a negative thing. Like, I'd movie past that because it's the most horrible thing ever.
Ooh, burn. Yeah. Speaking of Downton Abbey, because I know that you've been excited about Downton Abbey, right?
I've been wanting to talk about that forever. What are we talking about?
Downton Abbey's getting a movie, so they're going to be apparently going to the big screen. Now, my wife has seen like all of this stuff, and I've walked in and it looks like a Jane Austen movie on steroids, and I kind of walk in and go, no, and I just turn around and walk out. I'm like, nah, I'm not interested. I get it. It's not my thing. It's not my wheelhouse. But for some,
I'm just waiting for the Downton Abbey Doctor Who crossover.
Right? Then unfortunately, I'd have to watch it. But only because of Doctor Who, not because of Downton Abbey. Anyway, Downton Abbey is a beloved British television show. It's coming to theaters. Apparently, a bunch of key members are coming back. I don't know who all the people are. The names. Michelle Dockery,
this is
Bonneville, Maggie
such
Smith,
a great
Joanne
article for a nerdy podcast. I'm just saying.
I know. Well, it's one of those things where I'm like, trust me, there's people that listen to this podcast that are going to be excited about this. I'm just not one of them. But we're
devoted to the Super Friends, and they're going to care.
That's right. That is right. What I do like about this, though, is it's kind of like Firefly in a way. Not
what?
Anything similar to Firefly.
Joss Whedon does Downton Abbey.
Right. But it's similar in the idea that Firefly was a huge thing on television within a certain small community. And when it went off the air, that community like lobbied and they wanted it. And we ended up getting the movie Serenity, because there was a demand for it. And the movie Serenity was a great movie, and it did good business in the box office for how much it was made for. And then, of course, it sold more. Now,
but
Downton Abbey's a select thing for a certain crowd of people that like it. And it's a PBS television show. And now it's going to go to the big screen. And
but it got like a full 6 seasons. It got its due. It didn't just suddenly end with open plot devices hanging out there.
Well, yeah. All that's different, sure. But I mean, it's kind of like, dude, I'm just trying to tie it back any way I possibly can.
Take it back. We're going to take it back.
We're going to take it all back.
Sorry, I don't mean to invalidate you.
No. I'm just trying to tie it together, man. So, go see Downton Abbey on the big screen if you're into people falling into ponds and screaming Mr. Darcy.
I'm gonna actually watch that movie, and I will report about it. I will review it on the podcast.
Please do, because it would be so funny to hear a review about a movie based on 6 seasons of television which you've never seen.
It will also all be done in a horrible British accent.
Ooh, and let's see a little preview of that British accent, shall we?
Nope.
Dang it, I was hoping for like a British Macho Man.
I was... Need a little excitement, feeling bored. That's horrible. That doesn't even sound like him in any way.
That's like some sort of like cross between a troll and a Viking.
Hey, there's a movie idea right there. Let's talk to Joss.
So a troll and a Viking go back into the Downton Abbey area and go.
And then the Victorian women show up, flying in from the sky, one of them with her Zodcopter. We're not creating movies here, we're just talking about them.
No. And that's all I have for Rebel Intelligence.
Oh, good. Okay, good.
Are you out as well?
I'm done.
I'm
so done.
Last week we had a more serious conversation than what we're talking about now. We were talking about the WHO, the World Health Organization's classification of gaming disorder.
Didn't Macho King fight on the WHO wrestling shows? Isn't that...
No. Nice try.
WWE, WWF, WHO.
Close enough.
Yeah, sorry.
The Wrestling Hotel Overture. I don't know. I got nothing.
Wow.
But last week we talked about this gaming disorder and an addiction in gaming, right?
Yes.
And we had a good conversation. I'm going to fully admit though that I was pretty hyped up on NyQuil last week during the podcast because I was feeling a little bit sick. And when I listened back to our conversation, I realized I was actually hearing it for the first time. I don't remember a lot of what I said. And, I articulated some points maybe okay, and other points I was like, that's not, well, whatever.
Remember when you only heard one set of footprints in the sand? I was carrying you.
No, that's because the sand people walk in single file as to disguise their numbers. Everyone knows that.
Yeah, well, okay.
But we asked a question, do you believe that the gaming disorder is real? And yes or no, and then tell us why. And we got some really good responses, and so I wanted to read those.
Yeah.
We'll go over to email where we always start, and we got an email from our friend Peter Christensen.
Hello, Peter Christensen.
Dear nerds, he says, other San Francisco recommendations, the USS Hornet aircraft carrier in Alameda, which we know is where they keep the nuclear vessels. I added that part. He says, and since you're coming from Sacramento, the Jelly Belly factory in Fairfield, California. I brought that idea up to my boys and my wife. Everyone is on board. Peter, we are doing that this weekend.
I'm excited to hear the review of that, actually.
I know. It's going to be so hard going in there and not being able to eat anything. He says, I really appreciated the talk about gaming disorder, especially Stu's perspective. My wife and I listened to the episode on a road trip and kept pausing it to discuss it. I feel like disorder is a better term than addiction, given that, like gambling, so many millions participate without ruining their lives. I think of video games like junk food. Any given minute of gaming is more engaging than a minute of real life, but too much can become a problem. I limit my kids to an hour or two of video games a day, not because I think but because I want to make sure that they're used to a slower, less engaging parts of normal life. I don't buy the argument that video games cause violence or depravity, but I do worry it could get that way in a Ready Player One immersive VR scenario, where your physical experience of playing the game is similar to really beating up and robbing someone. That's a long ways away, and in the meantime, controllers and TV sets put some distance between action in games and real life.
Yeah.
I'm not a gamer at all, but there's no denying the enjoyment and escape they provide for hundreds of millions of people. Cheers, Peter Christensen.
So, thank you, Peter.
Yes.
It's a little embarrassing. That's weird. Yeah, I have a podcast. People listen to it and talk about it. Oh, no, embarrassed. But I'll admit, it's I try to be an honest person in my life all the time to everybody in every situation. I'm a problem solver. I fully believe that you cannot ever truly solve a problem unless you know every facet of it. So in being direct, if that bothers someone, I'm going to know why it bothers them. We'll get to the root of it rather than keeping things in. However, it's still difficult for me to be 100% open. But with the podcast, we do this for love, right? Yeah. We're not making money hand over fist at this yet. Right. And I want to be open. And the whole reason that I want to do that, even if it's difficult, is because I'm hoping that somebody listening to it thinks something meaningful about it and has maybe a meaningful discussion or it impacts them in some way. So your comments about that are exactly why I want to be open and I want to continue to be open, and it makes it worthwhile. So just huge thanks. Huge thanks.
Yeah. One of the things I loved everything about this email because I thought it was a really great way to look at some of that stuff too. And I think it helped kind of maybe flesh out some more of the conversation we were having. But I like that he said that him and his wife were on a road trip and that they kept pausing it to discuss things and have a conversation. And
yes,
obviously, like you said, we do this for fun. We do this for the love of what we do. And we talk about things that are nerdy and fun and things we're into. but it was really cool to hear that a conversation we had about something that's a real topic right now that's kind of going on and a lot of people are talking about, that our conversation helped spark other conversations in their family. And for me, that was just kind of an awesome moment. I mean, when the email came through, I read it and I thought,
oh, this is the first time I'm hearing about it. So it's getting me in the feels, brother.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it just kind of hit me and I kind of had a moment. I was like, that's awesome. I'm glad that, besides all the, the goofiness and the bad impressions and, the silliness.
Awesome impressions.
Yeah. The silliness that can ensue at times, that, we can have that effect as well to have, meaningful conversations. So anyway, thank you, Peter, for your response and for the time you took to write it out.
Love it.
Moving over to Twitter, Burn at Dantes_Belmont says, anything can be addictive. The moment you need a fix to continue living or feeling good, that moment you need to recognize you are addicted. I believe there are different levels in an addiction, and they should be treated as such. Also, believe we are addicted to something, what usually people call this is what keeps me moving through the rough times.
Yeah.
At least that's how I see things. With that definition, an addiction can be something positive or negative depending on how it impacts your life. I agree with Stu. Addictions need to be redefined and patients need to be treated as people and not just a money source, a number, a statistic, or a burden. I honestly believe there are positive addictions, however, the negative ones are more predominant.
I love that also.
Yeah, really good. I mean, the thing that really stands out to me there is, an addiction can be something positive or negative. So obviously, I've talked about this some before, and obviously, like I'm trying to change my life right now. I've made some decisions in my life. I've become
You don't eat jelly beans anymore.
Right, I'm not eating
Shame
jelly beans. I'm really staying away from sugar. I'm eating healthier. I'm exercising more. And I'm not going to say like I'm addicted to exercise because I'm not like some crazy fitness guy per se, but I do consciously and actively think about when I'm going to go walk at the end of the day or when I'm going to go get extra steps to try to get some exercise. And like it's kind of always in the back of my mind. And I look forward to those times now because I know that I'm doing something that's positive and good in my life, but I do focus on it more than I've ever focused on it before. Is that an addiction? Maybe not. Maybe it's more just a focus of my thought process. But I mean, people can have positive things that, like he said, to get them through the rough times that can be a help to them.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about my addiction and, I've mentioned that in the morning I have to play a game. Before I go to bed, I have to play a game. But it really does help to center me, and it really kind of contributed to, I think, saving my life in a fashion. It is what it is. Would my life be healthier if I didn't have it? Sure. So maybe it's not entirely positive, but it keeps me going. And I think I'm not even going to say other than that, but I think day to day, I'm a much more well-rounded individual than I've been in the past. I like who I am. Do I have a crutch? Yes, I do, but I'm okay with having that, and I still have my other priorities in check, and, that's just the way it goes, and that's part of who I am, so that's also been interesting for the dating stuff, I'll say, but...
Yeah, there could be worse things to have as a crutch, right?
Yeah, I mean, I used to do, 4 lines of cocaine every morning, and no, I did not. It was just a horrible joke, but
get a little nose candy going before your day.
Yeah, I do the nose candy, but it's usually like the candy corn.
Ah, yes.
Stick them up my nose and just.
By the way, the red pixie sticks burn. I'm just saying. I did it once as a kid, and I've never touched it again since.
Yeah, grape Kool-Aid powder also.
Ooh. Moving over to Facebook, Matt Knight says, "Is it real? Yes. But it only affects less than 5% of the global population. Just like many other addictions, there is usually an underlying cause for the addiction, such as depression or traumatic life experience. What I don't like is how the media seems to be portraying fear to make it seem that anyone that plays video games is addicted. Personally, I've had a relative accuse me of being addicted because I play maybe 14 hours a week. The person making the accusation has admitted binging over 30 hours of Netflix each week." Boy,
there's a couple things to kind of dissect there. So the under 5% of the population, yes, but I don't think that makes it less valid or less important. So I don't know if that's really kind of the point to make there, but it's still there. But also, media is going to try to inspire fear with everything. It's not just video game addiction. That's kind of that's how you get people to read your magazine or to go to your site. Is you got to shock them. That's why we have clickbait. And video, nothing is immune to that. Video game addiction or disorder is not going to change that either. 14 hours a week. Also, you think about that, that's 2 hours a day. Maybe that's addiction, maybe not. I think it's really like how and why you game that determines that. But I also know people that spend far more than 14 hours, and I wouldn't necessarily call them addicts either. So I think I think someone in their family needs to mind their own business, to be honest. So.
Right. And I guess it also depends on what your daily schedule's like. I mean, if you work a job where you only work 6 hours a day, and you don't have kids, maybe you're married but you don't have kids, or you're dating someone and you've got a lot of free time on your hands, you're disabled.
Or they're your healer.
Right, exactly. Whatever the case may be, like 2 hours a day is not a lot of time.
No.
Anyone can find time to make 2 hours a day for anything.
It's significant for a single activity, any single activity. But I'm not addicted to work, and I spend way
9
more
hours a day. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes more, sometimes a little less, but yeah, at least 9 hours a day. Yeah, I gotcha.
Yep.
So anyway, I just wanted to kind of highlight these three that came in. I thought they were all really kind of great contributions to the conversation we had last week, to help kind of, put an end cap kind of to that conversation that we had here. But hopefully those conversations continue on in your homes, with your family, with your friends, with your people you associate with.
Yeah, and I mean, part of what I like about the show is that it's really just fun. So we are starting to kind of deviate into more serious topics here and there. So it's validating to me that that it's not distracting from what we're doing, and I think we're actually having an impact with you, the Super Friends. So I'm definitely grateful for that. I don't want to get away from the fun of everything, but if we do diverge into being vulnerable and open, and we create some discussions, because the last one that we had, that I don't remember which one it was. There was one that we had where there was some
Father's Day.
Was it? Yeah. And I mean, just some really positive feedback from that. So keep interacting with us. We'll keep interacting with you. My God, this has been great. I'm glad to be a part of this podcast, and these kind of moments are just, God, they just recharge me, and I'm ready to keep going for another 300 more.
And something else that stood out is Brian reached out to us today on Twitter.
Yes.
And he said, hey, I really enjoyed that episode so much. Callie and I listened to it, and I'm going to go back and I'm going to listen to it again. And I was like, what? Because I can't think of many podcasts that I've listened to a second time through. Like, I usually listen to it once and I, feel like I've kind of got it.
Well, I mean, given how many podcasts there are, you could listen to podcasts forever, one time only, and still have a hard time running out of content. So I did see that. We both interacted there, and that was great too. Even though that's not kind of a question of the week kind of answer, I definitely love that kind of interaction as well.
Yeah, it like you said, it kind of validates the fact that if we do have a serious conversation, that the Super Friends are going to stick around with us through that as well. And, everyone's got stuff going on in their life, right? Everyone struggles. Everyone's got, real stuff going on. And it's nice that people are willing to be open with us and share their life and what's going on with them as well. And anyway, and Brian's a good friend. He's a good friend at the show. He's a good friend personally. I love him and his wife. They're dear, 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 sweet people. And so hearing him say that, I know that was a genuine thing. He was not, just saying it just to say it,
No, I'm down. I loved it.
But anyway, thank you, Super Friends, so much for your contributions this week. Every week, we're going to ask you a question, or occasionally, sometimes we'll let you ask us a question. And we're always going to ask, and you can always answer us at all the same places, which is our email address, which is fortivenerd@gmail.com. Don't hesitate. That's where you can open up a little bit more, type out a little bit more, because you're not constrained by characters. And you can let us know. We're on Facebook, which is facebook.com/fortivenerd. We're on Twitter, which is @FordofNerd, and then you can always call in. It's been a while since we've had a phone call, but you can call into our voicemail number, which is 801-477-7687.
And that's your best way to get on the show.
Yeah, if you send in a voicemail, it's a guaranteed I'm going to put it on. Just saying. It's guaranteed.
Be careful with that superpower.
Of course, if you're really crazy and you say things that are extremely inappropriate, you're also really guaranteed to get censored. But I'm just saying.
Spencer does all the editing. I don't touch it.
Yeah, thanks. Stu, Super Friends are there for us each and every week. How can they be there for us this week?
They can, you know what? I'm not even going to do a witty kind of thing because right now I'm living large on the comments and the feedback. Seriously, 5-star rating on iTunes. That's the best way to do it. Help us get heard. The more 5 stars we have, we can reach some lists. We can reach more people. We're not doing this for the money, but the more people that come at us with things and are involved in the show and simply just listen and get something from that makes every ounce of this worthwhile. And we definitely want to reach more people. So 5-star reviews, say something there if you like. If not, we'll still take the stars. But we love it. We love the feedback. So that's what they can do.
Awesome. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your friends,
neighbors.
Yeah, whatever you got to do. Stu, so usually we talk, we have a discussion about something. It's something that's happening in current or something in nerd and pop culture we don't talk about. But you've kind of been talking about dating lately. And so I wanted to... Are you going to
take me out?
Well, I mean, we could do that. I mean, I tried to take you out this weekend. I was like, what are you doing? You want to go see a movie, baby? Come on, let's make it happen. And you're like, yeah, I've got something else going on. I got a date. I was like, dang you.
Yeah, well, we did go on a date to Deadpool too, and we ended up sitting in different parts of the theater. I felt a little rejected.
Listen, man, your dance card was full this weekend. What was I going to do?
Yeah.
But I thought we should talk about this a little bit because Steve and I a while back we talked about dating, but we kind of talked about dating back in the past, and when we were much younger, and when our nerdy ways weren't quite up to par with where they should be. But you're currently dating people, and so I thought we should talk about dating and some of your dating and nerdy
give me some
dating
phone numbers. No,
that's what I'm saying.
Wait, no, that's not it.
But maybe we should come up with some some dating ideas. Now, obviously, my dating ideas are going to be a little different because it's going to be with my spouse, and that may apply to some of our super friends, but some of our super friends may find themselves in your shoes where they're looking for love and they need some dating ideas, something nerdy.
Yeah, something nerdy. So, I mean, there's a couple different approaches to that. And to break the fourth wall here for just a moment, you had come up with some ideas. I had already come up with the same ideas. So I actually came up with some others, and I actually think I came up with some other really good ideas.
Good.
For context, I mean, there's really a couple different ways to approach this. Are you the nerd looking to date a muggle? Are you a muggle looking to date a nerd? Are you looking for two different, are you and your partner both nerds?
You're a wizard, Harry.
That's the come on line I've been looking for my whole life. So, I mean, there's definitely a grain of salt to be taken with this, and not everything applies. And, I mean, before we really go into this, the one disclaimer I would say is the best thing you can do with anybody, regardless of whether you're a nerd or not, is find out as much about the person that you want to date as possible. Not every solution applies to everybody. And if you take one of these ideas and you haven't done enough research to know that person isn't going to, never speak to you again because they hate whatever you're doing.
And they're going to tell their friends, and they're going to mock you, and you're going to hear about it later from other people.
Yeah, especially on Twitter.
Yeah.
People are nasty on Twitter. So anyway, okay, so I have
a caveat, though, I wanted to put out there before we do this. I wanted to say I'm going to rule out the idea of hey, let's just go to a movie about comic book characters or nerd characters.
Well, I actually have some stuff to talk about with that.
I just want a general blanket, you can't just throw that out. It's got to be something. You got to add something to it. It's got to be something a little different. Just because, saying hey, the latest Avengers movie's come out. Do you want to go see that?
Okay, so I'm going to start there, man.
That's popular. The other thing is Comic-Cons.
Oh,
Comic-Con is a mecca of nerd and pop culture. So that's, and that doesn't apply for everyone. Not everyone can get to these conventions. I mean, they're all over the place, but you may live in, somewhere in, I don't know, South Carolina, and they may not have something there.
Well, I think it's also so broad that if you have the opportunity to go, you're probably going to have a good time, maybe with or without the date if you take a date. Right. So it's such an open hodgepodge of potential stuff. And there's actually, at most of the cons, there's usually like some kind of superhero dating or something. Right. Yeah. So that I think is just too big an issue to kind of go over. But let's talk about movies because you brought it up.
Okay.
I personally think that movies are a horrible first or second date idea. Just in general. You want to get to know the person that you're with. You want to be able to talk. Movies are really just two of you sitting there enjoying the same experience, but not really interacting. And I think that's bad. Now, sixth or seventh date, and you guys are already established and you both want to see a movie, that could be some good hand-holding time, some good stuff. So I would say like that does change a little bit with nerd dating. And the reason I think that's so is I think if you've done some interaction, if you're chatting with someone, because that's really an option now. That's if we want to talk about dating way back when and dating now, you can sit there and text somebody, message somebody, whatever the case may be, and you can actually have some interactions and learn about them. If you're both MCU fans, for example, you're both super stoked and excited to see Avengers 4, and you can, and this is the important part, and you can plan as part of that date to block out an hour. Okay, let's go see the movie and then go get an ice cream cone and talk about it for an hour. And that's within the parameters of what, may be okay for your dating. Get to know the person again. I actually think that could be a brilliant idea for a first date.
It depends on the ice cream.
It depends on the ice cream, sure. But I mean, if you're both really stoked about, and I mean, this also comes into play, like you can't really know ahead of time unless you've already seen it once and you're seeing it a second time, but say Infinity War, that has a lot to talk about.
Right, sure.
So there's some risk there. I think you definitely need to know your date to know if that's going to be a good idea. But if all the stars align there, that could be a great first date.
So I like the movie thing, but I look at the movie thing like if you're going to do like a kind of a nerdy thing, kind of as far as movies, you got to step it up. Like you got to make it a memorable experience for whatever reason. And it can't just be like, hey, let's just go buy some popcorn, sit in a movie theater and watch the movie, and then I'm going to take you home. So my idea, and I had this idea back in college, and I think it's still applicable. This isn't necessarily like a nerdy movie, but it's a great movie. It's a classic in my mind. Is what you do is you take your date out in a rowboat.
No.
On a lake.
And you take to do with movies?
And you take a laptop with you, and you bring like blankets, you bring some food, and you open up the laptop, and at night when it's dark so you can see, and you're in a rowboat, you watch the movie Jaws. Now, that idea I came up with in college, and I loved because it's different. It's going to be memorable, but you could do that like anything, like, right? So if you came up like, hey, we're going to watch, the movie Split, but we're going to go to an old abandoned like mental asylum, and we're going to watch it in there. Like,
wait, what? What are you?
That would be a memorable, crazy thing. I wouldn't recommend it, but I'm saying like that would be a memorable thing if they're into that kind of stuff. So like you got to know your audience. But like the Jaws idea, like I always thought like it would be something that you would always remember. It would be a big talking point for whoever you took on a date. So find some way to make a movie more than just a movie. Make it an experience.
Yeah, I mean, and personally, I would see that as maybe like a fourth or fifth date kind of thing. You've really got to know the person that you're going out on a date. Yeah, I guess to be fair, we did not
first date.
Yeah, we did not qualify this as first date nerdy ideas.
Yeah, that's right.
I kind of thought about it from that perspective because that's really where my head's been lately. But no, that for a date for someone that you know something about and you know that they're going to survive that without talking, without calling the police and swimming back to shore. Then,
right. So I'm just saying, if you're going to do the movie thing, like make it a memorable experience, like something that makes it stand out, something that's
Yeah, I'm gonna bring my
unique.
I'm gonna bring my Nintendo Power Glove when I go see Infinity War with somebody. So,
ooh, I thought you were gonna say you're gonna take her to go see The Wizard, starring Fred Savage. Get your Power Gloves off her. Anyway, okay.
I want to see a good movie, I guess. Anyway,
so here's my thing that I think one of my first ideas: do an escape room. Escape rooms are becoming really popular. They're popping up all over the place. You go in, you pay the money, and basically it's like you're given a whole lot of clues, and you've got to figure out, whatever that is. Like I've done ones that are like on a prison bus. I've done ones that are like it's just a bus, and it's supposed to be like prisoners, and they got all these clues, and they got like a convict chained up in there, and you can't get too close to the convict. It was kind of a cool thing. I've done others where they're like, an art heist, and you're trying to like, figure out the clues to stop this piece of art from being stolen or figure out who stole it. But the cool thing about an escape room is that you're going to be in there for about 45 minutes to an hour. You're going to be active. You're going to be able to talk to this person, but you're also going to be trying to work with this person. And so it'd be a good opportunity to kind of see how that person's mind thinks and how they work through puzzles and, tries to fit things together. And it would be a fun experience, and you're working cooperatively with this person, which is a good thing versus like just sitting in a movie theater not talking.
Never play Risk with a date.
Oh yeah, Monopoly. No. But at the end of the escape room, like you're gonna have an opportunity to see what happened, and if you made it out, great. If you did, even if you don't make it out, and you fail and you don't get through the whole thing, you're still gonna be able to talk about like what you did wrong and maybe like what the red herrings were, and like where you could have improved. I think that's a good date option. First date, maybe, definitely a second or a third date.
Just make sure you're not if you don't escape, make sure you're not the reason why.
Well, usually they do that like in a larger group. Like
right.
It'll be like somewhere between
I have
4 to
never
8
done
people.
an escape room.
Oh, they're a lot of fun.
So my favorite game publishing company, Lone Shark Games, my favorite designer, Mike Selinker, they actually started by doing gaming events. Like they would set up events at like Gen Con and things like that.
Yeah.
Then they started making some escape rooms, and then they actually got involved with producing their own games. Pathfinder Adventure Card Game, one of my favorite games, that's by them. Anyway, so I've been fascinated with the idea of escape rooms. I just have never really had a chance. So interesting that you come up with that idea, because I might consider that as a dating option here in the near future. So
I think it's a good one. The nice thing would be is if you're taking out someone and like she's got friends and you got some friends, maybe like a group of people, it's a safe kind of group date as well, because usually it's like 6 to 8 people or something in an escape room all kind of working together, not just like 2 of you. So
well, hopefully she has friends. I don't have many.
Well, you got me, Stu. You got me.
I do, and you happen to like escape rooms, so
I do, and I'd be willing to go.
I am. That's just got some gears turning. That may be a reality in my very near future. If that happens, I will definitely report how that turns out.
Nice.
So I do like that it's cooperative in nature. I do like that you're kind of getting to learn their personality through how they're interacting. One of my ideas, play D&D together.
Oh yeah.
And I think that could even work as a first date if you know that you both like D&D and you can go do like one of those Adventure League things or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Or you've got some friends. Don't crash your D&D party, with your regular group by bringing a girl along that they're not expecting. That's awkward for everybody. But there's so many ways to just do drop in and play sessions that I think that would be great. But make sure you're both players. Don't be the DM. Don't try to impress her through your DM skills.
Don't go to Target and buy the starter set together and then try to go home and just the 2 of you play. That's not going to work.
However, I'll say if we did that and she was the DM, yeah, I'm just saying. Unless she pulls out some red dragon and kills me as a level 1 character, then I'm going to be pissed.
Right, sure.
But yeah, no, I think D&D works, especially an Adventure League thing, because you're cooperative. You there's opportunity for flirting. There's, getting, how do you play your character, even if you're completely not who you are as a person. you could still pull off an alignment that's not in line with your actual person, but still play it off well. And there's an opportunity for wit and charm. I just think that you can, and to do it in a safe fantasy kind of way, to where you can both kind of embellish your own personalities through your characters. And I don't know. I have played D&D with partners in the past, not as like a date kind of thing, but I happen to think that could work pretty well.
I like that idea, and I'm gonna tie on to that idea with mine. And I think is really, really similar and closely related. Is go to your local game store and just try out a new board game.
That was my very first idea, you son of a gun.
Right? So, I mean, obviously, like you talked about the Adventurers League, and a lot of those are played in local game stores.
Yep.
But, you could go, pick up the Castle Panic game, or, Sorrow, or something like Munchkins, or, whatever, like they've got there. Every local board game store that I've ever been to always has tons of games, because they want people to come in and try the games and play them, because for a few reasons. One, if you play it and you like it, you're more likely to buy it and take it home with you and play with your friends. Two, people coming in the store helps build their community, and more people coming in talk to more people, and more people come in and buy stuff.
Yeah,
it's a store. So if you were to go and like try out a new game together, like you could find something that's cooperative again. Like you can kind of get this theme I got. Like I like the idea of cooperative stuff where you work together, play together, and it gives you a chance to talk and like figure things out and like try to figure out the rules together. Sometimes that can be fun on a new game, trying to figure out rules together with someone.
Yeah. So I actually, that's interesting. That's related to a conversation I had recently. So two things. One is I actually know of many game stores that don't have a game library that you can try, which is a downright shame, because,
right.
I mean, like, let's just say Endzone Gaming here in Clearfield, if they had that, I would be taking advantage of that, and I would definitely try a date. So free plug here for Game Night Games in Salt Lake. They definitely have a pretty great library. They've got big open tables. Like I would say earlier in the week, a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever. So there's not like huge crowds, but a few people. That's so perfect. Yeah. It's perfect.
It's a great idea.
I'm glad I thought of it. Yeah, jerk. No, I mean, I like it. I like it. And there's also another opportunity there. Like there's a lot of meetups and things like that. If you're in a state or you're dating someone and you really want other people around, find a meetup with them. There's gaming groups happening all over the place. I would dare say, almost all over the world. That's a potential option.
Well, the other thing about that too is like if you were doing a first date with someone, like let's say you met someone on Match.com or whatever you use, and if that person says they're into those type of things, it's kind of a safe place to go and meet someone too. Like you could go there separately and meet, and so there's not going to be all that pressure. It's a low cost date as well if you're going and trying out a game. Let's be honest, first dates, you don't want to drop a ton of dinero on it if, you don't know if you're going to be into this person at all.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not saying being a cheapskate, but I'm saying,
I try to go free if at all possible. No. So one thing you had mentioned, though, the going over the rules. One thing that's kind of important there is make sure that if you're demoing a game, if it's a game that, they've never played and you're helping them along, make sure you know the rules and don't get so bogged down in the rules that you make it distracting. The conversation that I had with someone else was that one of the reasons that they didn't enjoy games is that the rules themselves, trying to explain them to her, it really turned her away from it because it became bogged down and stuff. So if you can watch it played is a big thing, and if they're willing to kind of go through it as well, or even, be okay with just showing the game, and if the rules are wrong, so be it. Have some fun. Yeah. Get the theme of the game down. Get the spirit of the game. Have some fun interacting together. Don't get mired in the rules, and don't spend an hour and a half explaining how to play Mage Knight when that's really not going to lead to a good experience.
Right.
So, so I don't really have anything else game related, but this is super cheesy. Super plain, but it really works, I guess, speaking from experience as a nerd, a simple walk in the park, especially if there's like a cool place to sit or there's cool things to check out, really simple. It's low pressure, but you're kind of in an environment where all you're going to do is talk. Maybe if there's an amphitheater, you sit in the amphitheater. Whatever features are there, just go and have a good time. You've got some space to walk around and talk. Your date's not going to feel pressure. And pressure is really the big thing, especially with a nerd, because if you're a nerd and she's not, she's going to feel potentially like kind of being cornered into something. If she's not having a good time, then you really need to provide the opportunity to just kind of say, okay, well, this isn't really working out, whatever. But also it lends itself to needing to talk. That's the best way to get to know somebody, obviously, and you could talk about anything you want. If there's something cool to check out, it gives you kind of an icebreaker. These stairs here, they lead up to nowhere. They lead up to this fire hydrant, but aren't the stairs cool? And it just really is low pressure. I've had a couple walk in the park dates lately, and they've been some of the best dates. And I know that's not really nerd related, but it really just helps to break that pressure, because dating a nerd or being a nerd in a dating situation, that can be a little tense in and of itself.
Yes,
so
sometimes for some nerds, social settings and social situations can be very daunting. And so, very low key. I like that approach, Stu.
And it's kind of out in the open, and there are other people around typically, but you're not surrounded by people and you're not pressured in a social situation.
Right. I like that. I like that a lot. Something else I thought of. And this is kind of once again, it's a social situation, but you can go really kind of casual and kind of light with this, is go to an arcade, take a date to an arcade. And
are you taking me out? Are you trying to take me to, because I'll go.
You want to go to the Nickel Arcade later tonight?
Yeah, let's go.
But here's the cool thing. Like, you can go to some of I've been to a bunch of arcades, through all my life, right? But recently I went to one when I was back in Nashville, and like it had the DDR machines, so you could go and like dance together, and like kind of a friendly
no
rivalry.
No one is ever going to go out with me again.
But you can play like co-op shooters. You can like kind of play pinball games, like where you take a turn, she takes a turn, that sort of thing. Like find ways to like be social, but like don't focus on the gameplay aspect so much of like we've got to defeat the vile red falcon, and
especially not competitiveness, unless you're both competitive, in which case go for it.
Right. But like, play Time Crisis together and try to clear the whole thing, and where you shoot down all the bandits and whatnot. Find ways to, play the, Cruising USA games, the race car games, the motorcycle games, the snowboarding games, anything that's co-op, anything that you're going to have an opportunity to like play together and talk and have a good time. Except
for Guitar Hero, because in arcades, those controllers are heavy as crap.
Right. But that's the idea. Like, keep it light, keep it fun. Stay away from all like the one player only type of games. I'd say unless you're going to take turns, it's something that lends to, like I'll do a turn, then you'll do a turn where, you're maybe playing for a minute or two, then that person plays for a minute or two. Because if you play for 15 minutes and then they play for like 30 seconds, they die, and then you're on it again. Now you're just playing, and you're tolerating like your little brother playing Luigi for a life. That's not a date.
Well, except then maybe you kind of flub your own play, and you can recover from that, but don't dwell on it. Don't keep going and get your all-time high score on Pac-Man. Yeah.
No, I'm down with like the playing the DDR stuff, finding co-op games, play TNMT, where you're both playing together, like stuff like that.
Yep.
That's keep it casual, keep it loose. A lot of those places will have things also like skee ball machines, or like the little basketball hoops you can shoot on, stuff like that.
Oh, skee ball is always romantic when you get all the tickets and buy them some little plushie.
That's the part of me that like I love,
yeah.
Because I'll play up, and I used to do this when I was dating. I'll play up the cheesiness aspect. Like, look, I think the world of you, so I got you this little pencil eraser for 40 tickets or whatever, and and I kind of make a show of it, and I it's tongue in cheek, and everyone it's a good time.
No, and the funny thing is because arcades are really kind of dying off. They're not as invisible as Blockbusters these days, but
right.
But yeah, arcades are actually kind of difficult to find, and so
got that cool retro feel.
Yeah, so you don't see one in every mall anymore, and it's not like the thing that you pass by in the mall and look at, and you have all the stereotypes in there and go, it's definitely nostalgia. It's definitely niche. And if you've got someone who's willing to do that, that could be a great time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even, you know what? Even with the DDR thing, I make a joke that, no one would ever go with me. Sometimes it's okay to be able to laugh at yourself and be horrible at something because, you kind of open yourself up to that and you can laugh at yourself and the other person knows you've got a good sense of humor.
Yeah, I think a date's the perfect time to do that, Stu, because then it gives them the freedom to allow themselves to open up and make mistakes and not like have to feel like they've got to be on guard as well.
Exactly. So one of the things I was thinking of, something that I would like to actually do is a ghost tour.
Ooh.
So they have like those ghost tours of different places. They definitely have a couple in Salt Lake. There's one actually up in Oregon that I was considering taking my family to, but the 7-year-old, I don't know, maybe a little scary. But I mean, just checking out, haunted locations. There are always tours available. People that just feel like they want to make a living doing this. They definitely appreciate the patronage, and they're more than happy to make a good show of it. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, if you do, you're going to see some things that maybe you're really interested in, have something to talk about. If you're not, then, it's very entertaining at least. I would say it might be a little dangerous if someone is like really, really into ghosts and you don't believe in them. If you can have differing points of view, great. If that causes some dismay, then maybe not. But
would it be wrong to wear a proton pack when you do this?
I swear to God, if she would wear a proton pack too, you are set for life. I would totally do that though, with the proton pack especially. So
I love that idea.
But it gets you involved and it gives you something to talk about. And if you get a little scared, getting scared together, many studies have shown that's why amusement parks are always a popular date. Adrenaline helps to get the dopamine flowing and the serotonin going.
Why do you think I want to watch Jaws on a boat? They ain't got nowhere. They got to clutch onto something. It's going to be you, baby. It's going to be you.
Or the cooler with all the soft drinks.
That's true. Yeah. So here's my last thing that I wanted to bring up as an idea. Mm-hmm. And I kind of like this, and Breed and I were kind of talking about this idea a little bit, and then we were talking about something kind of related. She was talking about like the idea of like binge watching a show together. Like, if you're really into Battlestar Galactica and they've never seen it and, you think they'd be into it, you could watch that. And I was like, yeah, but that's just kind of watching things.
Have you seen the Portlandia One More Episode thing yet?
Yes, I did.
Okay, because that's exactly, I loved it. That's why that's a really horrible idea, because then suddenly you have no job.
And your date that was supposed to be like 2 hours long was like 7 days straight. Yeah. But my idea is if you're gonna go on a date and it's not a first date, like you've been out a few times and you're gonna like stay into Netflix and Netflix something or watch something, right? Is that you make dinner together, but you make it a themed dinner for whatever you're watching. So if you're going to watch like Star Trek Discovery, you make some Klingon cuisine. Now that can be simple as like making steaks and, French fries or something. But if you make them look different, like maybe you don't use traditional toppings and so you make it look like weird and make it look exotic.
And make some blood pudding with it. It's perfect.
Right. Or if, you're going to have carrots, but like you decide to like dye them purple.
This is like every high school or junior high spook alley brains idea, spaghetti and grapes.
Right. Exactly. But if you're watching Lord of the Rings, you can make coney stew together. So you can make some sort of like a beef stew and like say it's coney stew. If you're watching
pastries.
Right. If you're watching Harry Potter, you can make homemade butterbeer. You can make pumpkin pasties. You can make, chocolate frogs. I mean, you could do... whatever, because you can get like those little silicone molds,
right?
And you can get one of frog, and like you can like simple as like melting chocolate chips in it, and then put it in the freezer, letting it cool down. Bang, you pop that out, you got chocolate frogs. Super simple. But if you do some sort of themed dinner to go along with whatever you're watching, like it makes it a more memorable thing. And if you have fun with it, and everyone's just kind of game for whatever, like it just becomes a good time. And that could be a date with a single person. It could be a double date. It could be hey, we're having friends over for a game night or for watching a show. Like we're all going to watch Stranger Things together and we made Demigorgon soup and, whatever. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Eggo waffles, maybe. because the ego thing with 11 anyway. Yeah,
I know. That's just, that's silly. No, I like it though. I do not like to cook for the tedium of daily eating.
Right.
But for special occasions, I actually love to cook, especially if I can experiment. I have fairly good luck with experimenting with new recipes that I'm kind of inspired to make on my own. I actually make one of my best meals that I make is French toast. I make a really mean French toast, but I found this blood orange infused olive oil, and the moment that I found that, I knew that had to be how I made my French toast from now on, and it's brilliant, and I love it. And so those kind of creative ideas, I would love to kind of take into the dating situation, and I could see having a good time with that.
I like that.
So I've got one more. So planetariums. I love planetariums because it's more than just going and seeing the stars. If you've never really been to a real, like an entertaining planetarium, I guess there are, if you go to like a planetarium attached to a university in the middle of the Mojave Desert, you're likely to see some strange hamburger from Fortnite, but
Durburger.
Yeah, there's probably not much entertainment. But say the what is it called now? It used to be the Hanson Planetarium.
Clark Planetarium.
Clark Planetarium. Yeah. I don't know why I still remember as Hanson. That was what it was when I was growing up. But
right.
They have a lot to do. They have some really cool exhibits. They have some really interactive exhibits. They've got cool things just to sit there and watch. But they also have some shows. They have like some 3D under the sea movies or some in space.
Dark Side of the Moon, baby.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a different kind of date. But there's something to do, something to watch, and they're usually shorter films. So, like, you plan on spending a couple hours there, one to watch whatever 3D adventure you want or whatever star show, and then just kind of walk around and talk about the things. I think the shows are short enough and they inspire a more intelligent conversation. And then to be able to just kind of roam around and talk about things and things that you like. I think it's a really good opportunity to learn about someone and what they may like or what they find interesting and learn how to communicate with them. I think there's just so many tangential benefits to that I've never done that, but I would love to go on a date with somebody to the planetarium. I think it would be a great time. I happen to like science, but you don't really need to like science to enjoy some of that stuff. So.
Yeah, I like that idea. I think I've actually gone with Brita to a planetarium once.
Nice. I would
think.
Yeah. So I you said you didn't have any more, right?
No, I was out of the ones that I had kind of written down to have.
So the key point here that I want to make is that while there's a lot of pressure, both as being the nerd or even dating a nerd, I mean, if you're someone of, whatever gender you're preferring to date and you know that you're dating a nerd, but you're still interested enough to do something and you want to make sure that they have fun, whatever the case may be, that the core root of this is that nerd culture is an entire culture really, truly devoted to having fun.
Yeah.
So it's really just about getting past the pressure, finding something that you're okay with exploring as a new idea or something maybe that you know that you like that really gets away from a couple things. One being social anxiety. It's fairly common. A lot of nerds are introverts. You've been judged your whole life for something. If you have this fear of judgment or embarrassment, take them someplace that's going to be kind of out of the way. You don't want to get away from all people. You want it to be a kind of a normal good time kind of thing, but you want enough space to be able to talk with somebody. You want them to feel comfortable in your presence and not necessarily have to deal with everybody else. I would love an amusement park with somebody, but that's if I know they love amusement parks. And there's just so many people there that it can really be anxiety driven for a lot of people. So the culture is based around fun. Key into that, tie into it. There's so much you can still do, and it's been difficult for me to get past the stigma of my own nerdiness when dating, but I've been able to kind of explore that and tie it into normalcy. And I'm upfront with being a nerd with everyone that I've gone on a date with, and you just kind of have fun with it, and don't be afraid of making poking fun of it yourself. It can still be a really good time.
Yeah, I'd like to add on to that. Like, don't fear judgment and don't let judgment like be a part of that. Like, oh, well, we can't do this because she's going to look at me this way, or he's going to look at me this way, or whatever the case may be.
I deal with that still. It's hard to get away from.
And I get that, but like my
I agree with you though. You're absolutely right.
My advice is that like if that's an issue and they're going to judge you, then that's not the right person for you anyway. And so that's a good way of, helping to figure out that probably need to move on. But if you can be yourself around someone and you can show them your nerdy side, or they can show you their nerdy side, that means that they're opening up to you and that they want to let you in and they're willing to be vulnerable. And I think that's a good thing. But my takeaway from this is like, find ways to do that, but make sure that your dates are cooperative, that you're doing things together. Like the whole, like you said, like the first date, let's just go see a movie. I hate that. Yeah. I've done it way too many times, but you go and you sit there for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and you don't talk.
Yep. And
it's essentially you're sitting just next to someone that's a stranger. And then maybe you talk afterwards, maybe you go out again, but like I always try to do things like, matter of fact, the first date I ever took Brita on was mini golfing. And
yeah, I'm kind of surprised that didn't make it on either of our lists.
I thought about it, putting it on there, but I kind of felt like I liked the arcade idea a little bit better. Yeah, and so that's kind of what went on there. I'm also kind of a gamer, so I like games and whatnot. But
well, mini golf is a game.
That is true.
The WHO did come out and label it as a game.
Well, now we know. Now we know. Anyway, Super Friends, these are a few suggestions we have. Now, if you're married, these are some great ideas that you could apply in your marriage to take your spouse out on a date, which I probably need to do more of. If you're not married, these are some great ideas you can do, trying to find someone that you'd like to be married to. So here's our thing. Here's our question of the week.
Why are you putting the pressure of marriage on me now?
I'm just saying.
What is that about, Spencer?
That's not you. It's not you, baby. It's not you. Come on. It's not you, girl. Wow. You can tell I've used that line before. No. It's not you, baby. Come on now.
Horrible.
Super Friends, our question of the week is, what's your favorite idea for a nerdy date? We want to hear some of your favorite ideas for nerdy dates, or tell us like the best date you've been on like why it was special or what made it great. Because, myself in my married life or Stu in his single life, we may want to totally rip that idea off and use it.
Yep, that's actually what I'm looking for.
So let us know. You can get us to all the normal places, our Gmail email address. You can get us on Facebook, you can get us on Twitter, or you can call in the voicemail. And we will read those next week. And just a reminder, next week I'm going to be coming to you all the way from the Nuclear Vessels in Alameda. I'm going to be in San Francisco. And
so I'll be recording this on my own because Spencer will be in prison because he was having a little too much fun on the nuclear vessels.
We'll see. Mm-hmm. My kids will be at the Jelly Belly factory. I'll be at the nuclear vessels.
You got to have some Jelly Bellies, man.
I mean, maybe I'll sample a few if they got some different flavors that I've never tried, maybe.
Besides, carbs don't count when you're on vacation.
Oh, they do. they do.
You are way too disciplined for your own good, sir.
Well, man, it's 106 pounds. So, I mean, I got to keep on the path. I'm working it. So, anyway, Super Friends, thank you so much for your time this week and for hanging out with us. Stu, once again, it is a pleasure and an honor, and it's a lot of fun.
I love this stuff, brother.
Well, from all of us here at the Fortress Nerditude to all of you out there, wherever you may be, may the Force be with you.
Always.